Have you ever wondered why your dog suddenly licks your hands, sits on your feet, or stares at you while you're eating? Most owners assume these are just funny habits, but in many cases, your dog is actually trying to communicate something important. Some of these behaviors are completely normal, while others can be early signs that deserve your attention. Today, we'll decode 10 everyday dog behaviors so you'll never have to guess what your best friend might be trying to tell you. Dogs have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. During that time, they became experts at reading our emotions, but they've never stopped speaking their own language. The problem is, most of us were never taught how to understand it. Once you recognize these behaviors, everyday moments suddenly begin making a lot more sense. Unlike humans, dogs rely primarily on body language. A simple movement of the ears, a change in posture, or even where they choose to lie down, can communicate comfort, excitement, uncertainty, or a desire to stay close to someone they trust. Understanding these signals helps strengthen the bond between you and your dog. Let's start with one behavior that almost every owner has experienced. Does your dog constantly sit or lie directly on your feet? It may seem like they're simply getting in the way, but for many dogs, this is actually a place of comfort. Your feet carry one of the strongest concentrations of your natural scent. Dogs recognize that scent immediately. For them, sitting on your feet is a little like sitting next to someone they deeply trust. Some dogs also do this when visitors arrive because staying physically close helps them feel more secure. Dogs naturally stay close to members of their social group. In the wild, remaining near trusted companions increase safety. Although our homes are very different today, many of those instincts still remain. Some dogs lean gently against their owners. Others choose to sleep touching one foot. For them, physical contact can simply feel reassuring. A dog's sense of smell is extraordinary. Their nose contains hundreds of millions of scent receptors, allowing them to recognize individual people by scent alone. That familiar scent can become a source of comfort in unfamiliar situations. Most of the time, this behavior is completely normal. However, if your dog suddenly becomes extremely protective while sitting on your feet, such as growling at approaching people or guarding you aggressively, that behavior deserves professional evaluation. Imagine someone startling you from a deep sleep. For just a moment, you probably wouldn't know exactly where you are. Dogs experience something similar. If your dog briefly growls after being startled awake, it doesn't automatically mean they're aggressive. They're simply reacting before fully recognizing what's happening. During deep sleep, dogs transition through different sleep stages just like humans. When awakened abruptly, their brain may briefly trigger a defensive response before conscious recognition catches up. Most dogs relax almost immediately once they realize they're safe. The brain doesn't instantly switch from deep sleep to full awareness. For a brief moment, protective reflexes may activate before the dog completely recognizes its surroundings. Instead of touching your dog suddenly, try speaking softly first. Call their name, allow them a few seconds to wake naturally. This simple habit can prevent unnecessary stress for both you and your dog. The next behavior looks strange, but it often has a surprisingly simple explanation. Finding your dog eating grass or even small amounts of dirt can be confusing. Many owners immediately assume something is seriously wrong, but that's not always the case. Dogs may explore the world with their mouths. Some simply enjoy different textures. Others may nibble grass occasionally without any medical problem at all. However, if this behavior becomes frequent or excessive, it's worth paying attention. Occasional grass eating is fairly common, but repeated consumption of dirt, rocks, or other non-food items may sometimes be associated with digestive upset, boredom, nutritional imbalances, or certain medical conditions. Because several different causes are possible, persistent behavior should be discussed with your veterinarian. When veterinarians evaluate this behavior, they consider several possibilities rather than assuming a single cause. That may include diet, gastrointestinal health, environmental enrichment, and the dog's overall medical history. If your dog suddenly begins eating large amounts of dirt, especially along with vomiting, diarrhea, weight loss, or reduced appetite, don't ignore it. That's a good reason to schedule a veterinary examination. Have you ever noticed your dog suddenly sneeze while playing? Not because of dust, not because they're sick. Right in the middle of an exciting game. It looks strange, but it's actually one of the most fascinating social signals dogs use. When dogs play together, wrestling can become intense. They chase, jump, bark, even gently bite each other. To us, it sometimes looks like a real fight, but dogs have clever ways of preventing play from becoming actual aggression. One of those signals is the play sneeze. Researchers who study canine behavior have observed that many dogs produce short sneezes during energetic play. These sneezes often appear during rough and tumble games and may help signal friendly intent between play partners. It's one of several behaviors that help keep play cooperative instead of escalating into conflict. Dogs use multiple calming signals during social play. Play bows, relaxed body posture, loose tail movements, and sometimes sneezing. Together, these signals reduce misunderstandings and encourage safe interaction. However, frequent sneezing outside of play, especially with nasal discharge, difficulty breathing, or facial swelling, should never be dismissed as playful behavior. That deserves veterinary attention. Now here's something many owners find surprising. Does your dog ignore their food, only to start eating the moment you sit nearby? Many owners think their dog is simply being picky, but for some dogs, eating is a vulnerable activity. In nature, lowering the head to eat reduces awareness of the environment. Being close to someone they trust may simply help them feel more comfortable. Some dogs prefer eating when their family is nearby. Others may eat better alongside another dog. While this behavior is often completely normal, sudden changes in appetite should always be taken seriously. If your dog suddenly refuses meals, loses weight, or seems uncomfortable while eating, schedule a veterinary examination. Feeling safe influences behavior. When dogs are relaxed, their body is more willing to focus on eating instead of monitoring potential threats. Comfort and routine often play a larger role than owners realize. But here's an important difference. If your dog refuses food completely, even with you nearby, that's not a behavioral issue. Loss of appetite can be an early sign of illness and should always be investigated. Now let's talk about one of the funniest behaviors dog owners love. 1 second, your dog is lying peacefully on the couch. The next, they're racing around the living room at full speed like a furry rocket. Most owners call these the zoomies. Veterinary behaviorists often refer to them as frenetic random activity periods. Zoomies are sudden bursts of high energy that many healthy dogs experience. They often happen after baths, following exciting events, or after being confined for a period of time. For many dogs, it's simply an energetic release. During vigorous exercise, the body releases chemicals associated with excitement and physical activity. Healthy muscles, good cardiovascular function, and youthful energy all contribute to these sudden playful bursts. Zoomies are usually perfectly normal, but if your dog suddenly begins running frantically while crying, collapsing, dragging a leg, or appearing disoriented, that's completely different. Those signs require immediate veterinary evaluation. Every playful behavior has context. The more you understand what's normal for your own dog, the easier it becomes to recognize when something changes. And sometimes, those small changes are the first clues that something isn't quite right. We've reached the halfway point. The next behaviors become even more interesting. One of them explains why your dog hides toys in your bed, and another reveals why some dogs violently shake their favorite toys. The reason goes back thousands of years. So far, we've uncovered behaviors that reveal comfort, trust, playfulness, and instinct. Now we're getting into behaviors that many owners completely misunderstand. The next one might explain why your favorite blanket mysteriously keeps collecting dog toys. Have you ever lifted your pillow only to discover an old chew toy, a tennis ball, or even a half-finished bone? It may seem funny, but from your dog's perspective, they're placing something valuable in one of the safest places they know. Your bed smells strongly like you. To your dog, that scent represents safety. Wild canids often hide extra food for later. Although our dogs no longer need to hunt for survival, many still retain that natural caching instinct. Instead of burying bones outdoors, some choose places filled with familiar scents, like your bed, couch, or favorite blanket. Dogs naturally seek secure locations for valuable resources. Strong familiar scents can reinforce that feeling of safety, encouraging them to hide favorite toys or treats nearby. This behavior is usually completely normal. However, if your dog begins guarding those hidden items aggressively, growling, snapping, or refusing to let anyone approach, that may indicate resource guarding and deserves guidance from a qualified trainer or veterinary behavior professional. Now here's a behavior almost every owner has seen, but very few understand. Your dog grabs a toy, then suddenly shakes it back and forth with incredible force. To us, it looks hilarious. To your dog, it's instinct. Many breeds retain behaviors inherited from their wild ancestors. That rapid side-to-side motion mimics movements once used during hunting. Fortunately, today's squeaky toy replaces wild prey. Play allows dogs to practice natural behaviors safely. Chewing, chasing, pouncing, and shaking toys all provide both physical exercise and mental stimulation. For many dogs, this is simply another healthy way to express instinct. Play activates multiple muscle groups while stimulating areas of the brain associated with coordination, reward, and problem solving. Appropriate play is an important part of both physical and emotional well-being. Just remember, choose toys appropriate for your dog's size. Inspect them regularly for damage, and remove loose pieces that could become choking hazards. Next, if your dog suddenly refuses to leave your suitcase alone, they may already know something you haven't even said yet. Many owners notice this right before a trip. The suitcase comes out, and suddenly their dog is lying directly on top of it. Coincidence? Probably not. Dogs are incredible observers. They learn routines surprisingly quickly. If packing usually means you're leaving, your dog begins recognizing those early signals. Dogs don't understand vacations, but they do understand patterns. Keys, shoes, suitcases, even certain clothing can all become clues that your routine is about to change. Remaining close to those familiar objects may simply be your dog's way of staying connected. Dogs continuously associate everyday events with predictable outcomes. Repeated experiences strengthen these associations over time. This ability helps explain why many dogs anticipate routines before they actually happen. If your dog becomes extremely distressed every time you prepare to leave, including destructive behavior, constant barking, or panic, talk with your veterinarian. Separation-related anxiety can often be improved with the right combination of behavior modification and professional guidance. And finally, the behavior almost everyone thinks they already understand, but there's much more to it than simple affection. When your dog licks your hand, your face, or even your feet, most people immediately say, "Ah, they're giving me kisses." Sometimes that may be true, but licking serves several different purposes. Dogs explore the world using both their nose and their tongue. Licking may express affection, seek attention, gather information, or simply become a learned behavior because it receives a positive response. From the time puppies are born, licking plays an important role in social bonding. Mother dogs lick their puppies during early development. As dogs mature, that behavior often becomes part of how they interact with trusted companions. Licking combines taste, smell, touch, and social interaction. It provides dogs with valuable information while also reinforcing familiar relationships. However, if your dog suddenly begins excessive licking, especially focused on one area of their own body, that may indicate pain, skin disease, allergies, or anxiety. Likewise, if your dog repeatedly licks walls, furniture, or the floor, it's worth mentioning during your next veterinary visit because several medical conditions can contribute to that behavior. Every wag, every glance, every playful sprint, and every quiet moment beside you tells part of your dog's story. The better we understand those signals, the stronger our relationship becomes. So today we learned that your dog may sit on your feet for comfort, growl briefly after being startled awake, occasionally eat grass, sneeze during play, wait for you before eating, experience joyful zoomies, hide treasured toys, shake toys because of natural instinct, lie in your suitcase after learning your routines, and lick you for several different reasons, not just affection. None of these behaviors should be interpreted in isolation. Always consider the situation, your dog's personality, and whether the behavior has changed suddenly, because it's often those sudden changes that deserve the closest attention. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments, which one of these behaviors does your dog do the most? I read as many comments as I can, and your experiences often inspire future videos. If you enjoy evidence-based pet health and behavior content, subscribe to VetWise with Dr. Ethan Lee. Thank you for watching, and until next time, give your best friend an extra pat from me and keep helping them live a healthier, happier life.